I have been building a bed frame with Dad. Since I moved out, this room that we're in currently is actually my old bedroom. And Dad has turned it into his other
fab shop.
His fab shop, that's what he's calling it. And so since I was quite young, I think I've been sleeping in a bed that my dad made my brother Richard. So this is the bed that I have been sleeping in, that I was sleeping in for probably over 20 years, that Dad made with my brother. It's got a much more industrial vibe. You can see that it's got these big nuts with bolts on the other side, and that's how all the bed is assembled. So this comes off the end, and that is slotted in and hooked in with that. It is very sturdy. Underneath was a desk, which you can see I'm mid-project on, so it's a bit of a mess. And I've set it up for craft, so I've got lights and everything, and you can just see back through there that there's a ratchet strap. You can see it there. So we've got two ratchet straps, in fact you can see it just through there, that go from corner to corner as tensioners for strength. You can see the end better over here. So it's got table. These are the bolts. It did have just a bought set of 3 drawers, just like a bedside table, which eventually died because my room flooded a lot of times, and originally did not have a ladder, which required me almost falling off this by accident before I managed to get one. So I was very happy with my ladder. But yes, he made this with Dad, or rather Dad made this with Richard. And then when I was probably about 6, maybe 5, I have been using the bed. So now it's the spare bed for whenever the nieces and nephews or anyone comes and visits. And I've been saying for pretty well since then that when I move out and I get a queen-size bed, I want to build a bed with Dad.
In this following video, I'm going to go through, I'll do, my daughter wants to make a 4-poster bed, and we started the process already, but I've decided what I'll do is I'll do sort of 4 or 5 videos on the process. The first one, this one, I'll outline what we're trying to do and where we got the material from, because we've got it second hand, just setting up how we're planning to do this. And maybe this one I'll get up to, we ripped all the material, and I bought a thicknesser to do it, and we've dressed up the material. And today we actually worked on, made a test run on a bit of scrap material to make a tenon joint using my Leatherman of woodworking tools, the Triton workbench. Not only that, but you stole the bed.
I did steal the bed as well. It is now my craft room and my spare bed for when my nieces and nephews come over and stay. They're very excited with that concept of actually getting to sleep in the big bed. And so we started the project of deciding how we wanted to design the bed. Dad foolishly said, flyaway comment of, well, we could make it something dramatic like a 4-poster bed, so that's what we're doing. And it's going to be a slightly raised loft bed so that I have storage underneath. We made up a design in CAD, QCAD, and then we're looking at prices for wood, and then it was going to be very expensive to get new wood. We did look at using treated pine because we're pretty sure that's what the bed that I'd been sleeping in was. But then we decided to have a look at secondhand material online. And we found a guy who had been renovating his house, which was built in 1910, and he had a whole bunch of Oregon wood that he was not able to reuse. So he was selling it for $320 if you just came and picked up the lot. So that's what we did. We have then cut all our pieces to length, and we've been thicknessing, which meant we built.
Well, we had to rip.
Yeah, we had to rip a lot of it, including a beam that was 5.4 meters long, and it was one of the roof joists that he'd taken out and wasn't able to use. So that's now turned into the 4 posts for the bed. But we thought we'd update you and let you know where we were at. We're finishing the thicknessing today, and thought we could bring you along with us.
This is a bed that we're modelling the 4-poster on. I made this probably 30 plus years ago. I didn't have any tools. We'd only just moved into this house. And so I got the material. I made up my cutting list and just got someone to cut it for me. I mortised in those slots, and so they're about 10 mil, I think, in here. And then I put a full mortise through and just doweled it. And then I've just made a base with slats. I just put got these beams, just a bracket underneath. It's just a metal bracket to hold them, but just put slats on. So we've got mortises top and bottom, and yeah, you can see here, mortise through, and then these mortised in. So the bed that we're making for Melissa, and this is what inspired her to say, let's make a bed. Oh, well, no, there was her bed. But before that one, I made this one. And, yeah, I didn't cap it or anything like that. I actually got bits of wood to put on the caps and just never got around to it. So we're modelling the 4-poster off this. So just basically it'll be higher up off the ground. So there's more room underneath it for storage. And these posts will just be extended up. And so it's basically going to be this bed higher up with extensions on the posts, and then just a set of timber around the top of the 4 posts. So my Ugg boots on the floor there. So yes, this is basically what we're making. Regarding that bed that I made 30 years ago, or over 30 years ago, with why I made it and how I chose to make it. I had no tools. I had no money to buy tools. We just bought this house and we were doing it pretty tough. So I didn't have a lot of spare money. That's part of the reason I made the bed, was just because it was cheaper than going and buying a bed. But also, these books, they were given to me. My grandfather died, and I inherited these books. And it's called, I can see embossed in it, Ordell's Carpenter and Builder's Guide. It starts off the Ordell's Guide Building Trades or Practical Series of educators in the various branches of modern building construction, and has this sort of dedication at the front. When we build, let us think that we build forever. Let us not be for present delight, nor for present use alone. Let it be such work as our descendants will thank us for, and let us think as we lay stone on stone that a time is to come when these stones will be held sacred because our hands have touched them, and that men will say, as they look upon the labour and wrought substances of them, see, this our fathers did for us. John Ruskin. And there is my grandfather's signature. September 29, 1920. Is that a 7 or is it a 9? It might have been 1929 by the look. I don't know. But I think the copyright was around 1905 or something. No, copyrighted 1923, so it must be 29. I thought it was a little earlier than that. But, you know, because I build things and I find this sort of stuff interesting, I was looking through, and it's has a, you know, it's a trade book, and you know, it's got stuff on woods and you know, how to use shapers and scrapers, and you know, there's a whole lot of stuff. And at the back of one of them, it has information on how to work with steam engines and horses, and how to frame up, yeah, with sight winches and hoisting apparatus. But there was actually at the back of one of them how to harness up a horse for doing the foundations. Oh yes, the obligatory steam engines. Is that focusing? Anyway, I find these books very, very interesting. And so when I went to make that bed, I actually looked up in here how to do mortise and tenon joints using using chisels and so forth, just using hand tools. So it shows cutting, we're out, marking out your mortise, and then next page, and then how to actually chisel and how to drive it in. Gives it all of the good oil there, and then how to do it with pinning it, which is what I chose to do on the bed upstairs. Can you see? Yeah, there. Which is what I did there. But then maybe I'd be interested in looking at other ways of retaining it. And there's one here. You've got driving wedges in, and you've got it drawn in by what do they call them? Whoops, I just dropped one of the books, that's not good. Draw wedges. And so I don't know, I might suggest to Melissa we look at this. Split wedges. In that case, it looks like you'd make the mortise splayed. So this is the information that I used when I cut that, and as I said, it was before the internet. So books like this were how you found this sort of stuff out. Now you just go on and you do a search for mortises and tenons, and there's 100 videos with complete step-by-step instruction, but not back then. So anyway, these books are you know, it's kind of, I don't know, there's something about having something that your grandfather back in 1929, 94 years ago was, I don't know how much they cost him, but it probably cost him quite a bit of his money. And then that handwriting in the front, very tidy. Not like me, I can't write for. So yeah, that was where I got the information, because I worked for over about 22 years as a fitter and turner, worked mainly as a machinist. So metal is where I'm comfortable. So that was what I was doing. That was what I was using to. Well, I guess I was about 26 or 27 when I made that bed, I guess. So it'd be 34 years ago, something like that, because I just turned 60. So yeah, there's a bit of history as to where that bed came from. Righto, so this is the material we've got to rip, but this was made out of these. Well, we just went through parts of this. I didn't have to rip, but parts of it I've had to rip. And here's the stuff that we've already thicknessed. Melissa went in halvesies for this ripper, so she gets a cheaper bed and I get a cheaper thicknesser. Last week's project was this beautiful adapter. Well, last time we got together to get my shop vac on, and it actually works quite well. But this is just a plumbing fitting, and I did a little bit of machining in there to get it to fit. So it works fine. So here's a part of the beam that was 5.4 metres long. That's our leftover. So I've been ripping those into multiple pieces to get the 4 posts and so forth. So yeah, this is the change, I think, not including that. But this is the change we've got after building the bed. So I reckon we might be able to make some. On there, referring to another video, there's all the drawers from the set of the tool chest I've been working on, which is getting close to being finished. But anyway, more of that later. You can now explain to your grandfather why we're not dressing this all up. Yeah. Okay.
So we're not dressing every face because I really like the finish on a lot of the woods. A lot of the woods in my home are secondhand A lot of mix and match. So there's no like consistent wood tone in my house, and I like that look. I like the kind of patinaed look, you could also say.
Well, you're into medieval.
I do medieval reenactment. I do a lot of making my own crafts and stuff. So I like the different finishes. I like the older look. I mean, the fact that I'm going for a 4-poster bed in the first place kind of gives that indication. So we're not going to be finishing all the edges, much to my mother's disgust, because I really like, the wood is beautiful in its own form, I find. I really like the different, the aging and the fact that it tells, I'm gonna be sentimental and sappy. I like the stories that they tell. You can tell the history by it. Whereas if I finished the wood and completely, if we dressed all the edges, it'd be a beautiful bed, but you'd lose a lot of the story. And I like the story.
It's like the patina hot rod that my wife,
Yes.
Caroline, also doesn't like. She always goes, but why don't they paint it? And you go, but that's 70-year-old original paint. And if you just took it all off,
Yeah.
you've lost all that history.
You've lost the history. And I like the history.
Oh, and I do have here.
An actual.
This is, I don't know, can I see? This is the rough principle of the bed, and we'll make it something like that. But of course, because this is old wood, we have to make it with what we've got. So we adjust where we need to.
Which is also part of the fun.
All right.